Hello, this is Adam Campia, and we're going to be doing a descriptive writing pre-writing activity using Google Docs, and we're going to focus on creating document templates. The nice thing about being able to create a template is that students can basically download a copy of it into their Google Docs rather than all sharing the same document and editing the same document and making a mess out of things. They can each have their own copy then to edit and share as they wish. Before we create a template, it's a good idea to have our Google document ready to go. And so we would create a new document, but I went ahead and, to save us some time, created a Google document activity. And this is a pre-writing activity I like to use during our descriptive writing unit about the Hershey Kiss. And it's a tactile activity as well. I give each student in the classroom a Hershey Kiss, and I put a little picture up here on the page as well. And don't forget to credit your source if you use any images from the web. And if students can't eat chocolate or don't like Hershey Kisses or something, I usually have something else too, like a little bag of pretzels or something like that. And this activity, they can work on independently. But I make sure to have some very detailed directions. First and foremost, do not eat the Hershey Kiss until step 5. If they eat it off the bat, then they can't do the rest of the activity. And I like to use a table so that students don't have to think too hard about how to compose their thoughts and where to put things. They have nice little boxes to put their words in. So they work through this one step at a time, row by row, and they are going to be using sensory details to come up with descriptive words and phrases about the Hershey Kiss. So step 1, they would look at it and come up with any sight words they could think of and type them in the box here on the right. And the directions tell them to use descriptive, precise words or phrases. I like to also put the directions right there in the box, but I teach my students anything I put in italics in a document like this, they need to delete after they've completed that part of the activity, and that's up in the directions as well. I also like to throw them a few curves here and there. In this activity, I tell them they may not use these following words, Hershey, Kiss, candy, chocolate, or foil. That way they have to stretch their brains a little bit and think of some other descriptive words besides those obvious ones. And again, it's always a good idea to have an alternative. If they can't complete this activity for whatever the way you want them to for whatever reason, or if a student is at home, sick at home, couldn't come to school, and you want them to complete this activity, but they don't have any Hershey Kisses around the house, they can always find an alternative. Okay, so the students work through this one at a time, going through the senses: sight, touch, sound, smell, and finally they get to eat it, and by that point they've got a plethora of descriptive words and phrases about the Hershey Kiss. And the next step would be to start drafting a few paragraphs using the words and phrases they came up with. And it's a good way to get them started in thinking about using descriptive, precise, detailed language as far as sensory details go. Okay, so one other thing I do like to do just for fun, if you want to go above and beyond, is since this is a collaborative, since Google Docs offers the ability to share and collaborate, sometimes I like to add a third column and give them the opportunity to choose a partner, and they can borrow some descriptive words or phrases from a partner. So if you want to do that, that's always a fun thing to add to it, and that way when it comes time to compose their paragraphs, they have a few more nifty little words that they can throw in there. Okay, but that's the gist of things with our activity. The next step is going to be to transform it into a Google Docs template so that each student can use it. But first, we're going to pause, and I would like you to create a new Google document and create some sort of a pre-writing, descriptive writing activity that you can use in your classroom. It could be something like this. You don't have to use food. You could put a picture up there and ask them to describe the picture and imagine what they hear in the picture or imagine what they smell in the picture, things like that. You might give them an activity to do in their own environment. Look around the room, look out the window, something like that. There are all sorts of uh, neat little prompts and things you could probably come up with. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Once you've created your Google document activity, then we can move on to the next video tutorial about making this into a template and then embedding that template onto a web page.